It wasn't just another dramatic night under the stars and Bachelor in Paradise. It was a night that rippled through the beach long after the final rose was handed out. Jess had found herself caught in the kind of emotional tug-of-war that Paradise is infamous for, and while the cameras caught the tears and tension, it was what came after that gave the moment true depth. Hannah Brown, former bachelorette and no stranger to the ups and downs of reality romance, had a lot to say about Jess's decision, and she wasn't holding back. Jess made the right choice, she said with conviction, nodding firmly when asked about the rose ceremony during a post-show interview. It takes strength to listen to your gut, especially when everyone around you is watching and waiting to judge. For fans watching at home, the moment was anything but easy. Jess had spent days torn between two men, both vying for her attention, both offering a different kind of comfort and connection. One was safe, steady, and kind, the kind of guy your parents would probably love. The other? Magnetic, unpredictable, intense. The kind of chemistry that can burn out fast or ignite something lasting. The whispers around the beach were loud. Everyone had an opinion. And Jess, she listened, but ultimately, she trusted her own instincts. At the rose ceremony, she stepped forward, heart visibly pounding her chest, and offered a rose to the man who made her feel seen, not the one everyone else expected. Back at the resort, Hannah had been quietly rooting for Jess all along. I've been where she is. I know what it's like to be pulled in every direction, wondering if you're making a mistake, she said. But that's the thing. Paradise isn't about pleasing the crowd. It's about finding something real, and sometimes that means taking a risk. There had been moments earlier in the week where Jess had looked lost. She wandered along the shore at sunset, eyes scanning the horizon, unsure of her next step. Her confessional interviews hinted at a storm brewing inside her, a conflict between the heart and the mind. One guy brought out her silly, carefree side. The other challenged her in ways that made her question everything. But neither option was perfect. The night of the rose ceremony, the air was thick with tension. Other couples whispered anxiously. The host stood quietly, letting the moment build. Jess's name was called. She stepped up. She hesitated. And then she did what few do under pressure. She chose for herself. Honestly, Hannah added later, she reminded me a little of myself during my season. That moment when you realize no one can tell you what's right for you. You have to figure that out on your own. Social media lit up immediately. Fans flooded Twitter and Instagram with support and critiques, but many sided with Hannah's take. Jess wasn't just playing a game. She was playing for keeps. The man who didn't receive her rose? He handled it with grace, though there was a flicker of disappointment in his eyes. He had opened up to Jess, shown vulnerability, and in Paradise, that's not always easy. But rejection is a familiar part of the journey, and even as he walked away, he left with his dignity intact. In the days following the ceremony, Jess seemed lighter. Her shoulders dropped. Her smile returned. Whether or not her choice leads to a lasting relationship, she had claimed ownership of her story. She had followed her intuition, and that counts for something. There's no formula, Hannah continued, reflecting on her own experience with love in the public eye. But what I've learned is that clarity doesn't always come with time. Sometimes it comes in a single heartbeat, in a single glance across a crowded room. And that heartbeat came for Jess. It wasn't the most obvious choice, and it certainly wasn't the easiest, but it was hers. That's what resonated with viewers. That's what earned Hannah's stamp of approval. As the waves crashed in the distance and the tiki torches flickered in the warm evening breeze, Paradise felt a little more real that night. The fantasy gave way to raw human emotion, and Jess stepped into her own power, one rose at a time. Even in the quiet aftermath, as contestants retreated to their rooms and cameras panned to the moonlit ocean, the echoes of Jess's decision lingered. It wasn't just about choosing between two men. It was about choosing herself, about taking a stand in a setting designed to test the heart's resilience. Hannah, reflecting on the scene one last time, smiled softly. She'll remember that moment for the rest of her life, not because of who she picked, but because she learned how to pick herself. It was a rare moment of growth televised for all to see, and in Paradise, those moments are the most valuable of all.